Today, I want to have a conversation about something that I know Warriors fans are going to absolutely kill me in the comments. But sometimes, as a creative, you just got to take the heat with having a discussion that is probably needed, even though some people aren't going to want to hear it. Because from a pure basketball conversation, this conversation I think definitely needs to happen. And that is it time for the Golden State Warriors to seriously consider, not only you heard that they are preparing for life without Steph, is it time to seriously consider maybe even trading Steph Curry or Draymond Green for the betterment of their future? Or are they just going to ride out this last dance? We're going to talk about all that plus more right after this.
Welcome to the number one place for your daily basketball news and analysis, NBA Central.
What's going on, basketball fans? Welcome to another episode of the Full Court Podcast. My name is Haize, but more importantly, you guys can follow the channel at the Full Court YT on every social media platform we happen to be on. With that said, let's go ahead and get into it. So, here's the question I'm going to ask here, right? I want to be clear here. In no way am I saying that they are going to do this or necessarily should they, but it is worth a conversation, and that is, would it actually be best for the Golden State Warriors to consider trading Steph Curry and or Draymond Green for the future of their franchise? I want to say this, right? The first thing of it, seeing a player finish out his career with a team, the same team that drafted him, and two of them potentially in both Dre and Steph, is rare. And for a fan base, I completely understand wanting to see that. And you guys deserve to see that. And Steph is still playing at such a high level when he's on the basketball court that, of course, nobody's going to want to hear this conversation, entertain the conversation, or anything like that. But I want to have a pure basketball conversation here. This is removing even what my maybe pure thoughts are in regards to this one, right? So the Warriors sit in this spot where they are trying to contend and they want to leave this window open with Steph. Right now, of course, Steph played 43 games last season, all that. We know the facts of that. And the reasons why. I'm going to lay out the reasons why and why not here, right? Number one, the Warriors are nowhere close to contention. Like, let's just be clear here, right? They went 37-45 last season. They did reach the play-in. They missed the playoffs after losing to the Phoenix Suns. We all know what happened there, right? And this is the first real argument in this, right? Is that this is not a 50-win team. It's just not, right? It's not constructed to be that. Now, they try to make their goal, and it's commendable for what the Golden State Warriors front office has tried to do to continually add talent and build around this team, even so much like getting Axel Lindenberg, one of the most NBA-ready prospects in that draft, right? Steph is still great. 26 points, 3.6 rebounds, 4.7 assists last season. Even at, and now being at age number 38, there's no reason to think that those numbers are necessarily going to die off, right? But then the reality has to be, this roster is built off hope. That's it. This roster is built off hope. When you go to NBC Sports Bay Area, they framed it as this: Warriors optimism. It starts with hoping that Curry plays more than 43 games, hoping Green's defensive flashes are sustainable, and hoping Kristaps Porziņģis is healthy, hoping Jimmy Butler can return from close to form, and hoping that Lindenberg is ready right away. That is hope. And very rarely do we see a team built off so much hope actually works. Steph has to stay healthy. Jimmy Butler has to be close back to himself for what he is. And being, having an ACL injury at his age, do you really expect that? Kristaps has to stay healthy. Horford has to stay healthy, right? All those type of things. Then you got to look at the Pods and the Moses Moody and all those young guys that they have to be ready to pop. And are they ready to do that, right? It's not a bad plan to stay competitive. And that's the thing. Maybe staying competitive is enough for Warriors fans. It's enough for everybody because they're still going to win some basketball games. It's still going to be a fun team to watch. But I think when you look at it as well, the West is just so strong for the Warriors core to really move up it when you look at it. The Warriors are trying to win in a West that has gotten younger, it's gotten deeper, it's got more physically dominant. And even if Golden State does stay healthy, let's say all the questions that we just laid out here, they say 100% healthy. Are they better than the Thunder, the Nuggets, the Rockets, the Spurs, the Timberwolves, the Lakers, the Suns, the Mavericks? Like, are they better than those teams? Some of them, maybe you can make a case for, but at the top of it, probably not, right? And so the issue isn't about can Steph play. We know that Steph Curry can play. The issue is that with Steph still the best player on the team and not having a lot as far as high-level talent around him, how far can that roster really go, right? And, this is a conversation more on we heard the Anthony Davis things and that could have led to LeBron and all that type of stuff, and that may have been worth it, right? That may have been worth that enough may have been worth to mortgage some of your future to go, but it's there, right? Now, I don't know what Steph Curry's trade value is. Like, he's, of course, an amazing player. He's one of the all-time greats. He's going to be a Hall of Famer, a multi-time champion, and a player that can still absolutely shoot the balls out and score. There's no doubt about that, right? But you have to question yourself, not just about who Steph is now, but what you can also net back for that can help your future. That's what the Warriors have to look at. That's the question. It's not about Steph versus, anything else. It's about the future here. And how much further can you go? How much are you potentially holding back your future by living just so much of the now? I also think that Draymond Green's, his deal feels like it's a temporary last dance. He's back on a 1-year, $27.7 million deal, right? The contract runs to the end of the season. He does not have his no trade clause as part of that either, and that's because it's a 1-year deal with bird rights. He's waiving his inherent no trade clause. So I do think that this tells you that there's some part in the Golden State Warriors' minds or whatever else that this old core, that it may not last beyond this season. It may not last beyond this season. Now, let's flip this and look at the reasons why they shouldn't trade Steph. The fact of the matter is, trading the best player in your franchise, one of the best players in your franchise's history, an all-time great, a Hall of Famer, all that type of stuff. Steph isn't just a superstar. He's the greatest warrior ever. That's what he is. And so trading that, you just don't do that. Like, typically, you don't want to see that, right? Trading him would ruin so much good faith, no matter if it set your franchise up or not. There'd be so many fans that are turned out by that, turned down, and that just it would damage so much of the reputation that they built with their fan base, right? And I do think that Steph is still just too damn good to just tear down a roster automatically. Again, that's why I said we're going to talk about both sides of the conversation. Don't get too triggered early on, right? So the question is, can Steph still be a championship piece? Absolutely. Steph Curry can still be a championship piece. There's no doubt about that at all. The question isn't about Steph and if Steph can live up to what he needs to do to. It's what can this team do enough? The question then is that, do you try one more pivot, right? Do you try one more pivot next season? Do you try one more pivot at this year's trade deadline? Do you do that, right? Free agency is very unreliable. That's what free agency has become, right? And big stars that actually hit the market, even if they do, you kind of where they're going or where they're going to happens even before that, right? And so then you start seeing star players start, recruiting each other and going to other places. So the question becomes about it then, can the Warriors realistically build a contender around aging Steph Curry? Realistically, is it a possibility? Yes. Is it likely? No. It's just not. And I think even the most optimistic Golden State Warriors fan has to believe that, right? And admit that to themselves. To build a championship contender here in Golden State, and what they have to do is, first, Steph Curry has to play more than 60 games. You need Steph Curry to play more than 60 games. Jimmy Butler has to be a real two-way wing that can disturb teams on both sides of the ball. And there's going to be some times where Jimmy's going to have to go into that zone that he went into sometimes with Miami, where he puts the team on his back, right? He has to prove that he's more than just an expensive, expiring contract. Then on top of that, you have to hope that some of your young players start turning into something for you right the hell now. That's what you need. No ifs, ands, or buts. You're going to need Yaxel Lindenberg to be great right now. You're going to need Pods to be able to step up, right? Santos, you're going to need him to be able to show something. You're going to need these guys to be able to step up in major ways if you're going to want to be able to make a run here, right? Then you're going to need guys, aging bigs, and now Horford and Kristaps Porziņģis to stay healthy on top of all of that, right? So it's just a lot of what ifs, it's a lot of possibilities, and it's a lot of hope. To go back to what we talked about before, is it impossible? No. And I'm sure many Golden State Warriors fans are hoping that the unlikely can happen for them, right? A lot of people would say that when the Golden State Warriors won the last title, people didn't think that they necessarily would be able to do that, right? The Warriors are hard capped, right? They're hard capped to the second apron after Draymond Green and DeAnthony Melton. That after those deals finalized, they're hard capped to that. So that means that you don't have a lot of upward momentum in regards to that. Now, the second tax apron is $222.1 million for 2027. So building a roster that's hard capped and those type of things, mistakes matter even more for you, right? So it's difficult for the Golden State Warriors to even go into this situation and just say, let's just add some help. It's difficult to do even just that. So I get it that it's a conversation that nobody wants to know, but nobody wants to answer. But I do think internally, people who have to make the tough basketball decisions, and not fans, not pundits, not people on podcasts like me, but the people who are running the front office that have to ask the tough questions. They have to sometimes make decisions that aren't tied to loyalty, except for trying to make sure that they can build towards the future and try to get themselves best. They have to have an honest and real conversation about that. Now, do I think that is going to happen? Hell no. It would be so crazy in the basketball world if we see Steph traded. It'd be wild, right? But the basketball case, and that's the main conversation I'm having here. The basketball conversation here is real. They have an expensive, injury-dependent, team based off hope, and they aren't close in any shape, form, or fashion to being anywhere close to winning a title in the Western Conference. They're just not, right? Now, maybe the unexpected does happen. Maybe Axel Lindenberg lives up to the Dominican LeBron things, and he comes in and he's dominant over the next 2 years and actually turns and looks like he's going to be a superstar. Maybe that does happen. How does that change the roster building and the path and the upside, all that? If you have a young player like Axel Lindenberg, young, right? He's 24 years old. He's a very young person. I'm 15 years older than him. It's crazy. How do you have, you have to have hope like that. Maybe there is somebody that's a disgruntled star or aging vet themselves you can convince to come over here within the next year or two. Maybe you can do something like that. Dre will take in a 1-year deal, is probably going to do something like it again to come out of that deal, stay in free agency, give the Warriors a chance to add something, and then see what you can do moving forward. And, that's what you have when you have a culture. Steve Kerr is a whole nother added wrinkle into this one, because if Steve Kerr does decide, hey, I'm going to ride off into the sunset. I've done what I need to do. I've accomplished everything that I need as a GM at one point and now as a coach and definitely as a player. I'm done. I'm going to ride off. My health has been a concern. I'm done with this. Then that creates another question here. I am in no way saying that the Golden State Warriors should be shopping Steph Curry. That is not what the point of this is. But the point of it is to ask this, for a basketball purist standpoint and from a future building standpoint purely, should it be something that they're at least considering? I don't know. But from a personal, emotional standpoint and a loyalty standpoint, hell no. Because you don't. The last thing that people want to see is dynasties break up. But you've already seen that a little bit with Klay, who still feels weird playing in another jersey that's not the Golden State Warriors. But tough questions sometimes need to be asked. And maybe the Golden State Warriors are that next team that needs to answer a tough question so that they can try to salvage their future rather than mortgage it, trying to keep something afloat that will probably never really result in them being a true contender now in the new Western Conference. But let me know what you guys think on that down below, man. Make sure you guys sound off in the comment section on how you feel about this. I know the Golden State Warriors fans are going to be going clean off on me. It is what it is. I'll take the smoke in regards to this one. Sometimes difficult questions have to be had, and it is what it is with that one. Make sure you guys like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell so you never miss an episode or an upload. You can follow us at the Full Court YT. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, the NBA Central Show at gmail.com. And then lastly, if you want to leave a text message and or voicemail for the mailbag, the number to do so, 773-270-2799. We are the #1 spot for everything basketball and NBA related. And I'll catch you guys the next time I feel like making a video. If the Golden State Warriors fans do not take a hit out on me and I survive through the day, it'll probably be tomorrow. Peace, y'all.
Been a presentation of the Breaks Media.